Of all the things humans learned from cultural exchange during first contact, the most surprising was the shock we produced when we explained hairstyles. It was quickly realized by humankind that many other species had hair on their bodies, but nothing like our head hair. Like the rest of the hair we grew, they had evolved to have hair that only grew to a certain length. Once the amount was sufficient to protect their heads from harmful sun rays, none of them had hair that kept growing. The story of Rapunzel, when discovered, went viral. Not only this, but we had different types of head hair, varying from straight to tightly coiled. This led to a long-winded explanation of humans altering their hair to the type they wish to have. "My hair is too thick, so I have it straightened," one would explain. But another would say, "My hair is too thin, so I use products that give it volume." Yet neither of them would agree on what the ideal hair was. It differed from human to human. This inevitably led to discussions about caring for it. Alien species learned about shampoo and conditioner, and gels and sprays. They learned about curlers and blow dryers and straighteners. They learned some humans did extraordinary things like plug fake hair into their heads if they were losing it, but others chose to do away with their hair altogether. The latter was easy to understand on a basic level, since it took time, effort, and often money to maintain it, but once they seen most humans with such extravagant hair, it was strange seeing bald ones. Eventually, just as fashion sometimes caught on from new species, who were introduced to the galaxy, alien species with head hair began wearing synthetic wigs. Humans quickly cornered the market, and were delighted to help every sophant who wanted one to decide exactly what style fit them. There were also several humans that attempted to encourage longer beards, but considering the small portion of the human population that grew beards longer than was typical for alien species, the trend wasn't nearly as popular. A human named Bailey Hughes started work on a courier ship a few years after first contact, when humans were finally beginning to enter the alien job market outside academics and cultural exchange. She had wavy brown hair that went below her shoulders, or at least that's what her co-workers believed, until she came out of her room one day with her hair still drying from a shower. It was straight, and she explained she used a heating tool to make it wavy. Beginning her work on the ship was surreal, because for the first few days, several of her crewmates would alternate between meeting her gaze and looking at her hair. They weren't so bold as to ask to touch it, though. Well, except for the head engineer's young daughter, Paritra, who belonged to a species that had head hair. The equivalent of a human child at 4, when she first saw Bailey's brown hair, her antenna twitched furiously, and her eyes grew wide. "It looks so soft," she whispered, bouncing from foot to foot. "Here, you want to feel?" Bailey asked with a grin, crouching down. Paritra's eyes widened even further, and she carefully reached out to stroke it, as a human child would a downy sweater. "I want lots of hair too," Paritra declared. "Once you're old enough to take care of it yourself," her mother spoke up, in the tone of a tired parent who had had this conversation before. Bailey made an instant best friend that day, when she told Paritra that she would teach the young girl how to braid hair. That made it all the more unfortunate when the captain called Bailey into his office after only a week, asking her to close the door, and explained he needed to discuss her hair. "What's the problem?" she asked, taking a seat on the stool in front of his desk. Captain Rejlintu looked distressed, an easy thing to discern since he was a cephalopod who changed colour according to his emotions. "First, I just want to say that there is going to be no change as to the way you wear your hair," he declared. "No new rules implemented, your hair is fine as it is. That would be speciest." "Okay," Bailey said slowly. "That being said, engineering came to me with an issue," he said, wrapping two of his grasping tentacles around each other. "He was clearing a clog in the pipes, which doesn't happen often, and he encountered a new and rather difficult obstacle." Understanding bloomed on her face. Oh, crap. "So, you're familiar with this problem?" Yeah, humans on Earth use drain covers and clear them regularly, Bailey told him. And if the pipe clogs up, which it sometimes does, we use drain cleaner. I guess the filter in my shower drain is letting too much through. Drain cleaner? That's a product? Specialized for hair? Lintu asked. Oh, not just for hair, but it takes care of hair. I'm not an expert, she said. Stymized as she tried to rack her brain for any more information than the instructions of pouring it down the drain. You could ask a human plumber, they'd know. The issue is mainly regarding the strength of your hair, the captain told her. Are you aware of this? Unlimit told me she gave up and has been burning it. Oh, the stench was awful. She had tried various acids that were on hand, and it was staggeringly difficult to dissolve your hair. I did some searching on Galnet, and many hair products even describe benefits of them to be strengthening the follicles. It seems the materials that compose the nails in your digits are the same as your hair. Bailey grimaced and nodded. Right. You knew that. I read some of the science of the composition. Is it true that it can cut off circulation in the toes of newborns? He asked, starting to turn purple. Bailey's mouth opened in a small O of surprise, as she recalled that tidbit of information from a friend discussing her new baby. Oh my gosh, yes, she exclaimed. The purple tinge of Lintu's skin darkened. Yeah, parents are told that if a baby is crying so much that they seem in pain, but they can't find anything wrong, make sure a strand of their hair hasn't gotten wrapped around one of their toes. That's horrible, he whispered. Lintu sat up straight. This is the issue. Strands that you shed naturally are easily swept up in vacuums and air filters, but the shower plumbing is not prepared for it. And I'm concerned these drain cleaners you might have even damage the piping, if they're strong enough to dissolve your hair. Bailey grimaced. Not my area of expertise, but if we manage it, I'm sure something can be figured out. You might want to speak to a human hair salon as well. Oh, that's a clever idea, the captain noted. Human plumbers will help, but those who clean human hair must have strategies for coping with it, maybe even special equipment. And I'll be making a call to your Department of Cultural Exchange. They'll likely want to solve this quickly and have information available for other ships that take on human workers about how to deal with nearly indestructible hair. At that, Bailey smothered a laugh. I'll admit my hair having super strength wasn't on the list of problems I thought I'd encounter working here, she admitted. I'll rig something together to act as a drain cover for now. Thanks for being so understanding. I know I would be making sacrifices when I started work on an alien ship, but I'd hate to have to cut it just to be able to work in space. Oh, no, never, Lintu cried. There will be a galaxy-wide riot if species started to demand that of their human workers. Not to mention Paritra will be absolutely devastated. Yeah. I'd hate to disappoint that little cutie. It wouldn't be the end of the world, though, she admitted. Believe it or not, when I was a teenager, I trimmed my hair to 4 inches and shaved it so I could have a mohawk. It looked absolutely awesome. Lintu shifted skin tone colours at her description of the style, bemused. A mohawk? He turned to his computer, bringing up a Galnet search engine. Sometimes known as a Mohican. Both Native American terms, but now that I think about it, I don't actually know why, she murmured thoughtfully to herself. Lintu took his hand off his mouse, and abruptly turned bright orange. By the void! What is that?